Hello everybody, this is Frogman and welcome back to Manufactio. This is going to be episode number 10. In the last episode, we did a little bit of research and a little bit of explaining, and I unlocked and started crafting the item ducts from Thermal, and also the servers, the filters, and a whole bunch of other things. So I have since gone through at least this portion of the frame rate mess and cleaned it quite up. It's amazing how much just not having a bunch of items around in the world makes for a rather playable game. Yes, I did leave some of these on here just because I really wish this belt worked better. I like them. They're so good. It's just they're terrible. So, I have been busy. I've spent probably the last 4 days on the base. I know I did put out an episode a little bit ago, yesterday, day before, I forget exactly which, but that was just to kind of catch you guys up on what's been going on. But I have since done quite a bit of work to the base. As you can see, like I said, we've got item ducts in here now. We've got a few other things. I've cleaned up the chests. This is still a very temporary setup. This is mainly going to be just for... that's interesting. How did I do that? This is mainly just temporary. This is going to eventually probably just be what I would consider a mall area where I will just have a few assemblers set up so that I can produce some very mundane items that I'm constantly crafting, like the modular machine parts. So we'll come back to here in a little bit. Yeah, I don't think there's anything up here. And again, in here, I have changed out all of these for item ducts. I did go ahead and put some basic bins here with the inserters on the back, just so I still have some of the dynamic. These still cause serious frame problems and a few other things because they do get quite busy, especially when they're sitting there trying to do something. So it is another one of those, you don't want a lot of them in your world. And I have removed all of the power gen from back here, which we will see why in a minute. So let us jump upstairs, and we're going to see something right off the bat. Yep, he's out here now. All of them are. And I need to finish getting them moved, but they're all out of here. They have been, I guess, relegated to just antiquism or antiqueness, or however you want to say it. We'll see that in a second, too. And I have a lot of dirt. I don't know why, but I have a lot of dirt. Maybe it's because I flattened that hill out. But never mind the green. Never mind the green. We'll look at the green in a second. Major change to this building is in this room. It now does not have any farms on top of it. This was the intention. This was just to try to keep some of this stuff from having a major problem with pollution, and it is now my complete, as far as I'm hoping until I get the external preheaters, the smelting factory. This is where I smelt all of the ores, or at least what we're going to use as far as a smelting factory. Everything is being fed with item ducts now, and at least on this row and the bottom two, these are just normal smelting. I'm making steel over there, so I have, I think it's 6 regular furnace or regular blast furnaces hooked up just so that they can pick up iron, and then that is then directed back into the main line to the last 3 down here that produce the steel. It is a little slow, and there's probably a little bit of steel in or iron in here right now, but that's fine. No big problem. They'll just go the next time we turn things on. It's still somewhat manual, and whatever. It's still somewhat manual as of that I have a couple of buffer chests right here, that this was the one that fills up with iron, and this has a bunch of coal so that I can keep it separated from the rest of the system. And when I'm ready to make steel, I just click that with the wrench, and I unclick all the rest so that all of the iron immediately goes over here. That will get automated in time as I see fit, but for right now, it's working great. I went ahead and installed some powered lanterns in here to try to kind of make the ambience work. And as I stated, we're using pollution pumps to move stuff vertically down. There are 2 of them in here, and it does get a little cloudy in here when I let it run for a long period of time, and it's mainly due to the speed at which the pollution pumps, these pollution pumps, the pumps there and the vents work. They're not extremely fast, so it does get backed up in here after a while. Once the rest of the this system, especially the ore smelting and the ingot production, is constructed and automated, finished front to back, That probably won't be as bad because I won't have to sit here and run it constantly. So I have been running miners and I have been filling things up. I did go ahead and run item ducts all the way over to the end of here, and item ducts are underneath every single one of these silos. And I'm currently filling things back up with a few other things. I have run that thing out and run that out and a couple other things. Where is he? Okay, never mind. All right. Anyhow, like we said, part of the process was to be able to drag the pollution down so that I can then channel it to a central greenhouse. Hello, friend. Goodbye, friend. Whoop. We'll go over to what the, I guess, end-all be-all of where the pollution is or ends at. So, I said I was going to build a greenhouse. I built a greenhouse. Quite recently, decently large greenhouse. It's actually working pretty well. I know this is kind of goofy here, but basically what happens is the pollution comes from over there and over here in a few other different directions, and then is dropped down in here to where I'm using Forestry Multifarms, which we will build one of those in a little bit to cap off the rest of it. The pollution then comes up and around the multi-farms and up into the ceiling where it is exposed to this. This pollution pump pipe thingy here is pulling it back down and recycling it and just continuously cycling that until the carbon slowly goes away. It actually looked a lot worse a little bit ago, about a day ago. There was a lot of yellow up there until I figured out that there was an easy way to get rid of it. So I guess let's start at the end of where the pollution goes to. So I think there's a couple of them down there. Let's see if we can get one to do it. These channels, we'll go down there in a second. There you go. Just as decoratory so you can see the kind of the pollution, how it flows up and down. So both of these are set up as crop farms. These two right here. This one is set up as a tree farm for spruce right now, and then the one that we'll build later will be set up for dark oaks. I'm using spruce and dark oak because for 4 saplings I get a lot of wood. A lot. So we're using item ducts to connect to the conveyor belts, and then the conveyor belts go on out to the side over there into a storage system over here, which I am currently out of all of that stuff. That's good. I just set up some of these so we can have some things here. We'll look at that in a second. This entire system in here is being ran by solar panels in the corners. So there's 15 solar panels running each one of these. I don't know whether these have an internal buffer or if there's enough internal buffer into the farms that they actually stay running overnight, but they stay running overnight. So as soon as something grows, it immediately harvests it and it goes to work. So it's functional. I think the biggest problem I'm having right now is trying to keep up with that stuff, because it seems like the tree farms just absolutely eat the fertilizer, which finally caught me. I have the floodlights in here because this is also a bird cage, because the nagas spawn in here very well. There's been many times I've come in here and have 3 or 4 of them in here, so it's kind of fun. Anyhow, let's go all the way to the bottom, and this is going to be the distribution area. I have not finished these 2 sides yet because I don't have enough pollution coming in from either of the other 2 sides yet. As I build more buildings and more factories on that side of the base, meaning the west side, I will open these walls up and build these kinds of structures. So what happens in here, and this is the bottom of the pump that is, well, actually, yeah, this is the pump down there, and if you notice there's a filter on that one. We'll say here that what I've been doing is I've been using filters that have been full of carbon from other processes like the oil center, and I bring these down here and I fill them up with sulfur, and then I clean them. So still somewhat temporary in a few things, but let's go over to this guy, and these are the end events. And what I have here is a kind of a waterfall structure that, as the pollution spreads out, it's forced to spread out. So it's a kind of a 2-block direction every way. 1 block gap would probably be a little better because it would help with the spreading. You need to have some place for this stuff to move to or be pushed to, or else it'll just sit there. So a kind of a waterfall structure upwards like this forces the pollution to move up into all of these little channels out the sides and is evenly more or less spread, given the random generation of how things work around the outside. So as things come in and be, polluted, is that on? Yes. As the pollution comes in, it moves around. So the vents carry out here into this corridor where the vents go to another set of pumps, which I have these two kind of backed off because I kind of need a small storage area in here. You want a kind of an area so that the pollution can get away from the actual pump itself and spread out to the sides. And we walk down this corridor all the way down. I have a whole bunch of drones following me. Great. And this is the bottom of the smelting system. The pollution pump just sits here and it can fill in this area. And this is what happens when a lot of sulfur pollution touches cobblestone or stone or whatever. It just turns it into cobblestone. And I'm running these guys with thermoelectric generators. That's all they need. They do just that. That's more than enough power to take care of this problem. So this works this direction. We keep going down here. This is the other end of it. And the end of the hallway over here, I decided that I was going to go ahead and work on venting. It's going to get pretty nasty here pretty soon. There it is. This is hallway down here, about 3 or 4 holes or 2 or 3 holes over there. That is the area where my coke ovens are, and it's slowly venting that room. I'm not wasting this carbon pollution. I'm going to use every bit of it that I can. So, let's get out of this hallway. Where are we at? And up. That's good enough. Okay, up, and close the door. Keep the drones out. All right, so there is a similar hallway over here that goes underneath some of this other stuff. So since I decided we're going to have a bunch of trees, I also made a charcoal making factory, which basically I'm taking the logs from whatever trees I get out of here and smelting them into charcoal here, which then basically what happens is the furnace inputs on the top here. The charcoal comes out of the bottom of the furnaces, and then it is looped back through the back here on both sides, all the way down, so the charcoal has to touch every single one of these furnaces before it goes into this compactor. And that compactor is making charcoal blocks, which then exit this little building and go into this silo, that then go into several, or at least currently right now, 4 diesel generators. And I'm going to go over here where it's a little quieter. I was kind of goofing around in a test world and found out that you could make 2 diesel generators sit on top of one of these systems like that, and they're enough, at least if you use the same amount of boiler blocks, same amount of firebox blocks, you can actually run 2 of them off of it, thinking theoretically that as long as you can provide enough water. So I have 2 pumps on the back providing the water, because for each diesel generator you need at least 2 pumps, or at least a pump to make it run. And then of course a vent on either side to dump out the steam into hardened fluid ducts, because that's a lot better than having to deal with these things. This is probably tileable and you can change the direction of how this works. If you leave a gap in between each one of these, I think honestly you can keep tiling this. If I put this on the back here and then just bring it around, I honestly think I could probably just run all of this system, because these things, I think they have a limit of like 1,000 blocks or something. That's just one boiler controller, so 1 point of pollution instead of 4. So I only have 2 points of pollution over here doing the work, and it's keeping up. Of course, this one, neither one of these are running, but like this one right here, they're keeping up. So whoever came up with this idea of stacking things on top of this, it's brilliant. Works great. So theoretically, you could just make one big long one and just keep stacking diesel generators on top of it. So I did go ahead and move all of the biogenerators that I had in the building over there to right here, because I am also growing potatoes and carrots, and all of the rest are random garbage junk. Hey, that's that's interesting. Random garbage and whatnot falls into these. I love these so much. They're so good. Just why that wasn't in the game a long time ago, I don't know. So anyhow, Yeah, that's the majority of what has changed around here. That's the majority of what's happened. Let's go down here and I'll show you, I guess, the other side of this. And yes, that one thing is running off one solar panel. We'll go look at the other side. The other side is pretty much the same. This is the recycle connection. So that one is actually coming out of this little area here and is then being broadcasted up here. They can't eat it fast enough, so I just spread it around as much as I can. And this is the other corridor that goes to the diesel generator. Wait a minute. Yeah, I think that's the diesel generator. No, that's one of the pumps for the. No, it is a diesel generator. Whatever. That's diesel gen, I believe, and this is one of the. This is the furnace. No, that's the. It doesn't matter. Basically, what's going on is this stuff again pumps down here. I have a kind of a storage. The heck? Whatever. I have a kind of a storage area right here that allows me to just kind of keep some of the carbon because I want this to continuously pump out. And if it only has one block space to put it in, then it's kind of slow to move it. So you want to kind of give yourself a little bit of a storage room. It's even a better idea to possibly sink these deeper just so you have a large area for the stuff to move up. The more I play with carbon, the more I play with the pollution, the more I'm finding that this needs at least 2 blocks above it to move up or sideways when it comes out of whatever's moving it. So the more room you have to store your pollution before you're actually using it, the better off you are. And this nasty little hallway here is because there is a, again, massive lava lake underneath the base. And when I was digging this tunnel, I punched into it. So it is now venting into the system. So this is a whole bunch of free bone meal, basically. So, all right. Let's get out of this hole. Up, up, up. Cool, cool. Eventually, I will put elevators and whatnot in here. And now, anybody that's played with the Serene Seasons mod knows that that stuff is way too high to make this work. So I did modify the configuration so that the glass can be up to 100 blocks above this. I could have probably done 50, but basically what I want is a big tank, and I want the tank to be glass covered with all this kind of stuff so it works. I know I didn't have to put that much up there. It just looks better. I also wanted it that tall so I can get the tall spruces. That way I can get a whole lot of wood out of just a couple saplings, and it is definitely making a lot of wood. This is actually the second time probably, that I have dumped both of these. There's supposed to be dark oak in here. I was actually growing it in here for a little while, and then I kind of took it out because I was more interested in trying to use up the pollution as quickly as possible. But I want this as a tank. So what's going to happen is this is just going to keep filling up and recycling and filling up and recycling. As the factory turns on and turns off and turns on and turns off, it will pump all of the pollution into this building and then eat it up. And then as I use other areas up, like I said, there was actually pollution in that corner when I started the video before I came over here. These trees just chew through it. This chews through it. It's just going away to where all I have is just a little bit of sulfur that I have to deal with. And I can fill up all of those filters, so I can take a filter and just smack it down there and it'll eat up a bunch of the carbon, sure, but it will eventually get rid of the sulfur as well. And now with the new updates that we've had, I can take those filters and make sulfur out of that eventually in a long drawn out process, but it is what it is. So let us go over here and we'll go ahead and build the last multi-farm with what time we have left. So multi-farms or farm blocks are a forestry add-on thing that allow you to craft machines that do basic farming for you. So do I have any more slabs? I do if I could spell. Okay. I need a few more because 19 is not enough. So they are crafted as such, and I know I have some copper in here somewhere. Look at me being all prepared except for not. All prepared except for not. I love it. Copper's up here. Grab a stack. Stack. Ink. Okay. Anyhow, farm blocks are the basis of the farm. So we need something like this, and I want, I don't know, at least... How many we got? 20, 20, 20, 20, 32, 32. Let's make like 40. That's going to be too many, but we need a few things. So I'm out. Okay. And you get a tin electron tin electron tube in a thermionic fabricator, which I have over there. Hey, I hate that word. Okay, so anyhow, farm blocks. In order to make it work, we need a gearbox, which this is the power connection, so we need one of those. And then I need the farm hatch, which I'm going to need 3 of these. Actually, no, I think I only need 2 because this is going to be a tree farm. 1, 2. So simple, easy, another recipe, very, whatever. And we need a farm valve. And this is how we get the water into the farm. Now, there is also a control, which basically what this does is it stores the data for the farm. You don't need this in order to make it work. You can just leave it alone. And I'm going to just make a tree farm with this. So I do not need any one of these. Now, if you want to grow any kind of crop farm, so any kind of crops, or let's see, I think what it is, it's going to be a bronze electron tube is the one I want, right? A bronze electron tube is constructed as such, and this is how you make crop farms. Now, if you've never done this, basically what you'd have to do is you have to make a soldering iron, and a soldering iron will allow you to modify how your farms work. You take a circuit board and you put it in this little slot, and then you add what are these things? The electron tubes into the slots that you want something to do with. So whichever direction is whatever direction you want something to grow in. So if I wanted to do a tree farm and a crop farm, so I think, I don't know, I might be able to show this if I put it back in here. It's showing me, yeah, it's basically not capable of doing something, but you put this in here, and then you put the electron tube that you want into the slot that you want the direction to be for that crop to be grown. So multiple electron tubes. Come on, type, you can do this. Multiple electron tubes are capable, so you have the copper. This doesn't do anything. The tin doesn't do anything as far as I know. The bronze electron tube, where's it at? Why is this not working? There. Bronze will allow you to do crops. What was that one? That was tin will allow you to do cane. Actually, I need to do canes on one of these, and then of course copper does cactus, and this does cocoa beans. The one of interesting to note, and I think it is the ender electron tube, will do chorus flowers, which later on down the road, we're going to need a lot of chorus flowers. So eventually I will be growing chorus flowers in that place too. So not too terribly concerned about it. Not going to do it this time. Don't need it. So that should be all of the parts I need to do that. Let's put this in here for now. And yeah, awesome. That means a portal gun. Eventually, maybe. I don't know. So, all right. So let's get down here and let's set up the farm. And what I'm going to do is that block right there is going to get replaced with one of the hatches. Actually, I think I do need one more hatch. I knew I needed another hatch. Let's go make one more real quick. The block on top is going to be where I'm going to input the fertilizer from. To, however you want to say that. Let's just grab one more of those, please. Give me one of these back. Thank you. There we go. Good deal. There it is. Okay, cool. All right. Let's try this again. Anyhow, we're going to put the fertilizer in from right there. And then we build the rest from the bottom down. So that tells me exactly where I need to be able to build anything. And I'm building a 3x3x4 farm, which is big enough to put in here. I could have put one big gigantic farm inside this building, but it's kind of hard to specialize in what you want, and that way it also allows me to use the central or center area here to do a little bit of tree farming so that I can get the taller trees. So anyhow, we've got that center block there. We're going to do a ring of regular farm blocks like so, and then I'm going to come down in all 4 corners so that I have a basis of where I want things to go. And this, you can build these however you want to. They don't have to be, I think the only thing is where you see that band, you can't put any of the other special blocks in that band. So the third block up, you can't do that, but you can place this floor here, and we'll get to that in a second. And then, like I said, in center, we'll go ahead and fill that up. All right, so I'm going to kind of copy this one, or at least mirror it slightly. The valve is going to go right here, and then let me see, gearbox over on this side here, and then the hatches are going to be right here. And this is where we're going to get our inputs and our outputs for whatever we plan on farming, as well as the return back into the feeder area. So finish the multi-block. 1, 2, 1, 2, and 3. And you know you got it right when that band forms. Now, normally when you build these out in the world, you don't have this floor built down. And a floor for a basic 3x3x4 allows you to farm 7 blocks out from the center. So basically it's going to place the dirt on this floor. So I've already built the floor out all the way around. That way, if you don't want a certain section to produce something, or if you just want a square, if you want something just however, you can build the floor however you want. And by config, it's 7 blocks out on one of these. I think the next size up is a 9, and these things can get to be like 27 by 27 blocks or something. It's humongous what they can be. They're huge, just absolutely huge. The smaller ones are a little bit more efficient on time because the farm doesn't waste its entire time sitting there trying to scan the entire thing. That's why there's 4 in here. So the next step is I need to figure out where I put the power. So let's grab a bunch of this old junk. And yes, hopefully I need to go get some more wire. Basically what we're going to do here, and this is just a kind of just to get it going. I'm not going to hook all of these up. I need one right there. I might have to go get some wire, but we'll put one of those right here. And I'm going to put one of those right there. To there, to here, to here, to there. And then let's see about getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Should be enough to get this started. They don't need a lot of power. They just need a little power. And that one. Okay, and that one. And I'm going to save a wire for right now, just because I'm going to need a wire, unless I just decide to cheat it, because basically what we have to do now is we have to get water in here. And I was going to use a pump, but I think I'm just going to cheat it for right now, like I did on the other side, since I have a pump over there. So we'll just drag some water over here for right now. It's kind of a maintenance area, nobody cares. And if I click on that, I should now see no fertilizer. I've got water coming in, and we're good to go at least on that part. So I'm going to borrow a little bit of dirt from this guy and a little bit of fertilizer from this one. And we'll put some dirt in here with some fertilizer. And now it's like, well, no fertilizer. It's saying no fertilizer. Now we're dumping the dirt down. And if we run upstairs real quick, we'll see what it looks like. It's automatically planting out the humus area, which trees grow on humus. And it should plant all that out, including those two. There you go. All right. And that used a little bit of dirt. Now it's just sitting here going, hey, I need some kind of seed to plant, or sapling. So let's grab us a sapling. And again, I'm using dark oak because of the size of the tree I get. This is the planting slot. This is the slot where it puts whatever it needs to plant into it. And there they go. All right, cool. Do the last little bitty hookup here. The last hookup needs to be some item ducts coming out of here. And I'm doing this as a distance for a reason. I want the last destination to be out. So what I need to do here is I need to take a filter and grab one of these saplings out of here, because I want to filter just that sapling. And I'm going to put that in there. That way, this is the first destination, that is the last destination. And all I have to do now is turn this on. And whatever comes out of this area will be pushed out of this pipe into that conveyor belt and put into the system. This will eventually stock all of these saplings up and do whatever it needs to do. It'll just eventually fill that thing up, because of the fact that I'm taking the output from here and redirecting it back into the actual farm itself. So then it'll sit there and just continuously cycle around until this becomes full, and then it'll push it out to this and over to those silos, which I'm probably going to have to start storing saplings because they make quite a bit of saplings, and saplings are pretty good for power gen as well. So that's hooked up. I'm going to have to go make a little bit more wire, but oh, here we go already. Come on. That's why you grow the 4x4s. I would grow jungles in here. I just hate jungle trees. It picks up the leftovers that land on the outside of it and then replants. So, and it's using up that. I probably should just shut. Oop. Well, I shut that off for now. Anyhow, we'll just put that back. I hate how quickly those break. But, okay, good deal. All right. Anyhow, but like that's how the system's going to work. And then as I build more stuff this direction, and what little bitty space I can go this way, I don't know if there's going to be anything over here. We'll just add more corridors, and I will build the little structures underneath to help push the pollution up and around. But for right now, that's going to do exactly what I need it to do. And it works. These actually use quite a bit of that pollution up. I mean, this is just to kind of just make some stuff. These are actually the reason why I'm in here doing this, because they will just eat that pollution up quicker than anything else. So, ooh, maybe I shouldn't be using that stone. I have to find something else. This is kind of all temporary too. I don't know if I'm going to leave it like this or not. I do like this block. Anyhow. It's a nice little bitty long episode for you guys after the short 2 ones that we've had the last couple of episodes. I have been busy. I will be building a lot more. I'm actually going to extend this probably out quite a ways. I plan on having probably I don't know, maybe a dozen of these out here eventually. Just depends on how much charcoal we can make. And then there will be a building that is encapsulating them so that I don't have to keep pumping out of the sky and dropping down to wherever it needs to be. But it does. It's working, and it's working pretty well. So I think for that right now, that's what we're going to call it. I think this has been enough fun for one day, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Bye.